Hello there, and welcome to part 2 of my 20 most favouriteest songs ranked from 20 to 1. Yesterday we did 20 down to 11, and now here, out of sight, stacked up in front of me, I have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You understand the concept of numbers and rankings, so I won't explain that. What are the ground rules? These are what I think are the greatest songs or the most influential songs. These are my favourite songs. Now, I had to put a couple of rules in. That I just couldn't do this if it was my favourite songs. And even now, I've been coming up with around about 50 and not being able to differentiate. I'm not normally like this. And I think what it is that when I'm judging instrumental songs, as I did on the list before, I've got more of a sort of objective way of, it's technical, there's compositional elements, I can take all that. Songs have this extra thing, is what they mean to you. And I think that slants it a bit. So I've gone awry, and in the last episode, I realised I'd missed off an essential song, so I've had to put it at a joint 3 with another song. So you're actually going to get 11 songs here, right? Now that will upset the anal retentive, but those people get upset at anything really. But for those of you who aren't so, OCD, all I can say is it shows that this is a living thing. It's a process. Now the other rule is, which cut it down a lot, is because I am going to be playing these tunes on my radio show, and my radio show is a very special thing I do over on Patreon, where I actually talk and play the songs. And when I do that, I physically play them. I put them on the turntable and I record them in live as I'm doing the talk, like they used to do in the old days. And I then remaster. Sometimes I'll make a mono-tuned stereo. Sometimes I'll edit it down. On the last episode, I took all the best bits off Tarkus and re-edited them into some sort of Frankenstein ELP epic, which I enjoyed very much. So I mess about with it. Shouldn't really, but it's all behind the closed doors of Patreon, which is great. So really, I've pulled these from my collection of vinyl, because that keeps to the rules. So in that, there's a couple of moments here where I've gone off track on this list, but we'll be all right. We're ready to go. So at number 10, what have I got at number 10? Off the album Off the Wall, I have, let's open it up so you can see the full Michael Jackson. That's the full Michael Jackson. There he is. He's up against the wall. Anyone buying the album? Yes, there's Michael up against the wall. But when you look down, his socks are bloody exuding light. Look at that. Photons exuding out of his socks. This is an incredible album. It's brilliant all the way through. Don't stop till you get it. It's amazing. But I think for me, it's Rock With You, which was written by Rod Temperton, who was the mastermind behind the band Heatwave that did Boogie Nights. And Rod Temperton's not American. He's some British chap. What's the lineup on this? Michael Jackson is on lead and background vocals. The bass is played by Bobby Watson. I don't know who he is. I bet he's got some money in the bank. The drums are by the great John Robinson, brilliant studio drummer. David Williams is on guitar, and Marlo Henderson is on guitar. 2 guitars interweaving under the direction of the great Quincy Jones. We've got Greg Philonines on synthesizer and Michael Bodicker on synthesizer, all legends. And then the horns are arranged by Jerry Hay and performed by the Sea Wind Horns, which includes Larry Williams on tenor, Kim Hutchcroft on baritone, and William Reichenbach on trombone, and the great Gary Grant on trumpet, not Cary Grant, Gary Grant. He appears on a lot of the fusion albums in the 1970s. The rhythm and vocal arrangements are by Rod Temperton. I bet Rod Temperton's got a bit of money in the bank, hasn't he? So that's what I've got at number 10, Off the Wall. Now tell them why you like it. Why do I like it? I love the funk. I love disco. I love stuff that makes you move and want to bop. It's easy to make a funky track. Well, it's not easy because you've got to be able to feel the funk. But, there's more to just feeling the funk. Writing a song which is beautiful and melodic, which is also funky, is a really hard thing to do. And it's very easy when you do that to go down the cheesy route, Someone like Luther Vandross was always not he was a bit too close, you know. He's a bit too close to that cliff, you know. It was sometimes incredible, or sometimes. And there's a lot of rhythm and blues, funky soul artists from especially the 1980s, that fall into this trap. Michael Jackson didn't. Right, Rock With You is just so beautiful, you know, and melodic, and yet it doesn't sound cheesy, does it? And that's why I like it. I love the groove on it. Rock with you all night. And that's laid back, but underneath there's a 16th groove feel going on. I'll try to show you that, and it's implied. So imagine you go, I'm gonna rock with you all night, dance it into the sunlight. I'm gonna rock with you. That's implied, and that's implied by all the stuff that everybody's not doing, because everyone's doing a bit of that, you see. It's all that little bit, and you all have to be at one to do that, to get into that, you know. It's like that. It's just completely gone from modern music. So if you want to clip that for a short, you're welcome to it. I'll set it up for you. Hi, my name's Andy Edwards, and I'm a YouTuber, and I'm going to tell you why modern pop music is rubbish. Because, right, it should have this. But instead it's just got this. And that's the difference. And if you don't understand it, it's because you haven't got... You know what I'm saying? There you go, bloody short. 50,000 views. You can have it. I don't want it. Stick it out on your own channel. Set yourself up with that. It's a gift from me. You know, gift from the master YouTuber. Right, so that's number 10, isn't it? Number 9. This album is again filled with incredible songs. Moving Pictures by Rush, the perfect album. This is the perfect album, isn't it? Moving Pictures by Rush, it's a perfect album. The playing, the songwriting, the innovation and visionaryness of it. I just love this album so much. And side 1 is pretty much like ridiculous, isn't it? Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, YYZ, Limelight. Witch Hunt's incredible, Camera Eye. Some people don't like that one. I absolutely love it because it's a little bit esoteric. You have to know your Rush to get to that. And it really does conjure up this idea of just being in a place like a photographer and trying to look around to find things to photograph. It's not epic. Yeah, no, nobody's walking up any bloody Jacob's ladders on this one, or finding guitars in caves and boring as silly while they try and bloody tune the thing. About 10 minutes, ruining what should be a great bloody sidelong epic, and no, everyone glosses over it. I'm just here, I'm not like the Daily Doug. I don't just like everything. I'll tell you what I think, I don't like 2112. This, however, is amazing. I want to say Tom Sawyer, but it's too obvious. Shall I say Tom Sawyer? Shall I go and try and be a little bit more and do Limelight? And then Red Barchetta is like a massive story all comprised into one little song, and they're all brilliant. YYZ's not a song, so we can take that one on the list. Tom Sawyer. To Monday warrior, mean pride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. This is amazing. It's going to be this one. Down. Though his mind is not for rent, but don't get him down as arrogant. It's just ridiculous. But then you got this. I don't know what the hell's going on. What the hell's going on, Rush? What you doing? You're doing my head in? I'm only 12 years old. I've been listening to AC/DC. What are you doing here? What's going on? I can't tell what's happening. Bloody Limelight. Beautiful Limelight is. And then Red Barchetta. I'm in the future now. I'm in the future. And in there, they got these space cars driving around, and they're I mean, the future. Oh God, this bloke, he's gone down into his granddad's shed or something, and there's what's under this bloody thing? Oh my God, it's an old car. I'm going to go for a drive. That you're not allowed to. Yeah, no, but I'm going to express my individuality and freedom of expression. You know, in the future they will get rid of it. They have done, haven't they? You know. Anyway, I've got to pick one, haven't I? Well, I'm not going to. It's my bloody channel. Andy, you've got to. Well, listen to the radio show. I'll pick one then, or play all three, or none of them at all. Or I might just pick something else and put that in its place, like Black Hole Sun. Why is it Black Hole Sun on there, Andy? I don't know. It's one of my favourite songs of all time. So why haven't you put it on? Have you got it on vinyl? Yeah, I have. So why haven't you done it? I couldn't find the record. I think it's at home. This is the trouble with this list. It's rubbish. At least I'm honest, though. Not like the Daily Doug. He wouldn't be honest at this point. He'd edit it, right? I'm not like that. I just admit my mistakes, right? This is not at all my 20 favourite songs. I could do this again and have another 20 favourite songs in. This is not right. It's a failure, this is, from the outset. It's a failure. This is just Andy's 20 songs. That's what it is that he likes. There aren't another 20 songs that he doesn't like. It's a bloody rubbish. I'm going to tell the truth, you know. I'm not going to pull the wool over your eyes, you know. I'm not going to pull the wool over your eyes, you know. And as I go through this, you know, the fact that I'm seeing as I'm going through this video, I am seeing the, what's the word? I'm seeing the faults in this video in terms of its conception. Sometimes my conception is smack on, usually. But in this case, it's not. It's not at all. And I feel... hang on. Hello? Hello? It's the Daily Doug. Hello, yes. Oh, you watched the video, did you? The one I did the other day after you blocked me on Facebook. Yeah. No, I'm not bothered at all. No, if you want to block me, it's totally up to you. You know, I don't know why you blocked me. You might block me, thought, oh, I like Andy, but, you know, I think I'll just block you because, you know, it could have been just something like that, not the fact that you hate me when I've done nothing wrong, yeah. So why are you calling me up if you've blocked me? Because I'm talking to you about you on YouTube. Well, I'll tell you something, mate. Right, I'll tell you something. You've solved it for me. Because I've just been talking about, you know, Moving Pictures by Rush. Yeah, did you do it? Yeah. I bet you liked it, didn't you? Because you like everything, don't you? Anyway, I'm trying to pick my favourite track off here. And there's a track on here. This was made in 1981 or something. And there's a track where it's called Red Barchetta. They imagine they're in the future, Doug. And in the future, there's these people out there. They're trying to stop people from doing stuff, saying stuff, thinking stuff, all that type of stuff, you know. Like you're doing to me. So why don't you just keep to your corner, do your thing, I'll do mine thing, right? And we'll just live and let live. How about that? And stop being this sort of like insane lefty that has got to go around controlling what everyone thinks. And then when somebody says something you don't like, you can basically go, no, I don't want to hear it. No, I don't block you. No. You know, I don't mind what anyone says. It doesn't bother me. They can say something I completely don't agree with. I just go, oh, that's nice for you. Yeah, it's brilliant. I live and let live. Red Barchetta it is. It's Red Barchetta everybody. You know, he sold it. Hang up. Right. I only get in trouble being like this, aren't I? You know. I only do it to make you lot laugh. You do know that, don't you? There I do, risking reputation damage continually. Someone put on a comment the other day, he said, I discovered you a few years ago and you'd upset somebody. Then he says, I'm glad that you're still doing it. I have to do it. You know. What's that there? Bloody idiots. Just having a laugh. It's not real. He's not on the phone. This phone, I mean, bloody hell, you off your head. It's like, this phone here, it's not plugged in, you bloody fools. He didn't call me. Anyone who's got a brain knows that. It's pretense. It's artifice. I've told you all over and over again. And now you're sat there getting annoyed because I'm not doing the list. This list doesn't matter. Bloody, what, you come here for the banter. You come here for these bits like this, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I didn't know I was going to go off on a tangent halfway through. You know, but I'm a bit miffed of everything at the moment. That's the bottom line. And I mean, the thing is that these videos are like they're as much cathartic for me as anything else. You know, it's like most of my life being the drummer, I've been stuck at the back. Everyone ignores me, you know, they don't care. Nobody likes me, you know, and I've been stuck at the back. And I've had an idea about that. You shut your face, Andy. Who are you, the drummer? What do you know about chords? Well, I know everything about chords. No, you don't, but I do know about it. I know about all sorts of things. I know about philosophy, and I know about chords. I know about all these things, and I've got a big record collection and an encyclopedic knowledge of those records. We don't care, Andy. Nobody cares about you and your encyclopedic knowledge and your knowledge of chords and stuff about music. Nobody cares. They were wrong, weren't they? What number am I on now? Forgotten. 10, 9. Are we on 8? 8, 7. Don't look. 6, 5, 4, 3. Yeah. We're on 8. Number 8, I've got this album. Paul Simon, Still Crazy After All These Years. Now, you're probably going to think, as a drummer, I'm going to go and pick 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. Imagine I'm Steve Gardner. You can't sing it. It's so melodic, but you can't sing it. Amazing song. Just been at the back, Jack, make a poo fan. Make a poo fan, Stan. Stan, what are you doing? I've got nothing to do with it. I'm bored, Steve. Why don't you make a poo fan? What's one of those? Well, you know when the shit hits the fan. Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's basically a fan that just produces. You know, I've got millions of them on YouTube fans that produce poo all day long in the comment section. Now you're alienating the bloody fans. Bloody hell. No, it's not that one. What the hell's going on in here? I've lost it on this video. Come on, keep going, Andy. It's Friday, weekend soon. No, I was going to put on here, Still Crazy After All These Years. I love that tune. It's so beautiful. It tells a story. It just goes off. It's like a little prog epic. It's just brilliant songwriting. Takes you on the journey. I met my old lover on the street last night. It's like a gospel tune at the start. She seemed so glad to see me. I just smiled. And we talked about some old times and drank ourselves some beers. I love Paul Simon. Still crazy after all these. And then this string comes in. And then 4 in the morning. And Michael Brecker sounding amazing. I bloody love Paul Simon. Look at him. Absolutely amazing. Now, I love this record so much. And I can remember listening to Still Crazy, which is the first track on side 1. And I can remember getting the record and I was taking it out, and people have noticed I don't handle my records, and I dropped it. And I took a big chunk out of. Right. Gone at last. And Still Crazy After All These Years. That broke, didn't it? I didn't expect it to break. I just thought it would fly over my head. I've never known that happened to a record. So now I haven't got it. And that means I can't play it anyway on this radio show. It's all right. I've got the cover still, though. Don't look. You if you're a fan of records, you won't like it. What number was that? And put me off so much, so I don't even know what numbers I'm at now. Oh, I've got lost. I have to count it up again. Right, sorry. This is rubbish. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 7. At number 7, I have one of my favourite artists, and I have all the records up until probably Ariel. I've got every single one because I absolutely love her. I haven't kept up with all this millions of names for Snow or whatever she's done. They're all great stuff. I love her very much, and that's, of course, the great Kate Bush. The only vinyl I have of Kate Bush, surprisingly enough, I did have a copy of The Dreaming many years ago, but that seems to have gone missing, is this one, which I got because at the time it had the tune Experiment 4 on, which was you couldn't get anywhere else. And that's as much as a fan I was of Miss Bush. Look, it's one of my country's greatest songwriters of all time. And again, I've got greatest hits here. I could easily have Wuthering Heights or Cloud Bursting or Breathing or Wow or Hounds of Love, Running Up That Hill, Army Dreamers, Sat in Your Lap, The Dreaming, Babushka. I could have any of those at this point, and I don't know which one to have because I'm torn between a choice of two. In terms of just beautiful songwriting, simple, beautiful songwriting, The Man with the Child in His Eyes is as good as it gets. It's as good as it gets. She wrote it when she was 14 years old because she's a genius, right? Unbelievable. Based upon, I believe, the film The Ghost of Mrs. Mule, although Kate said it's not, and I find that difficult because Kate bases all the stuff on films. So that's what I think. Now, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. The Ghost of Mrs. Mule. Great film. Very entertaining. Or I could go for the bonkers Gnostic tune, Sat in Your Lap, and that's the one I'm going to go for, Sat in Your Lap, because when she brought the Dreaming out, she just pushed her, like as a little pop princess as she was, she got into the studio, produced herself, and she pushed herself as far out as she could. The album sold well, but a lot of people are going, what the hell's this? But it's a masterpiece. And the first single was Sat in Your Lap, which is just bonkers. I love Kate so much. Oh, we got a bit of information here. Sat in Your Lap was originally released on the 30th of June, which is my dad's birthday, in 1981. My dad would have been 43 at that point. He's dead now, so that's a bit of depressing bit. I didn't want to go there, really. My dad's here with us right now. A little bit like The Man with the Child in His Eyes. He's a ghost, but I don't think my dad's here is a ghost. But I'll let you in on a secret. Those of you who don't know. Kate, park yourself there. Just get that out of the way. This here, this little padded box is always behind me. Always behind me, and in there is a little thing with my dad's ashes in. Not all of him. Which bit of him I am not too sure. It's possibly an elbow and maybe a bit of hip. Although my dad did have his hip replaced with a bloody platinum hip. He did it private, so I bet they nabbed that, didn't they? Anyway, my dad's here in there. And he's always at the back. He's always with me. I used to have this at home on the shelf, but I thought, no, he's going to come down here and I am going to have him in every single video I make. He might not be in view, but people will know and they'll start to see that little casket and they'll think, there's a little bit of dead body in there of Andy's dad. Yes, oh, is that it true, is it? Yes, and that's the sort of thing that you get on this video. One point is silliness, right? There's one point, you know, where I'm upsetting everybody in the whole world, and then I'll bring the sympathy out. I might bring a dog on next time. I did that the other day, but there, you know. So that's what I've done there, instead of talking about Kate Bush. Right, that's that one there. Right, so what number was it? I can't... Andy, you've got to remember the numbers. Let's count them again. Number 6, I remember now as I started doing that. I'm just doing it to get on your nerves now. So, at number 6, I have Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles, off the album Revolver. This copy here was sent to me by a kind fan. And they did it because I thought, I'm going to send my record to Andy's. And I never know, from then on, I'm going to have the frisson, if that's the word, the frisson, is that the word? Of wondering if he's ever going to pull my album out, thus making his album immortal, like my dad, right? And I have, can't remember the guy who said to me, it was a very, oh, look at this. He sent me a few Beatles albums, I think 4, and all the best ones. And so he sat there getting really excited. He's probably saying to his wife, look, Andy's got my album. Like that. Unless he's upset with me and unsubscribed in the great unsubscribing of 2025. Oh, I'm going to have to mark that down. We're going to have to celebrate that next year. Not celebrate it, but we're just going to have to be wary of it. It's still going on. They're still dropping. I set this YouTube up how many years ago now? 4 years ago. And as soon as I started doing it, the subscribers have done this. They've never dropped down ever in the history, ever. You look and there's a certain number, and then you come back an hour later and there's 10 more. And then you come back the next day and there's 20 more. That's what it's been like, steady Eddie, like that, the subscribe. And now it's like doing this. It goes back down and up, you know. Everyone's using it like a weapon against me. Bizarrely, I mention Man with a Children's Eyes, which is about this ghost that is appearing of a sea captain. That's what I believe it is, about a ghost. And then that triggers me to go and get my dad. And I bring my dad over and show it to you. And then I just randomly go to the next tune, which is Tomorrow Never Knows. And Tomorrow Never Knows is based upon the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So as this video is carrying on with all these things that I'm not in control with, all these different things that are swilling around as I've lost control of this. As I lose control of this and I get to the realization, wearing this t-shirt and holding this album, I realize that death has stalked into the room at this moment in time. And it's overseeing this. It's overseeing this part of the video at the moment. That's quite frightening, isn't it? That as we get higher up, these things emerge. And it's just emerged in this video, death, the departed. And songs have that sort of ability to conjure up a time, don't they? And it's the sort of thing I would ignore on this channel. I never talk about that. I might talk about the musicians on it, or the innovations, or maybe the sort of production, or the harmony even, you know, or all that type of thing, or tell you some, you know, facts about when it was made and stuff like that. But a great thing that exists with songs is it's the song's ability to take us back to another time. And as I looked at that Kate Bush and saw that Sat in Your Lap, the Gnostic one, was released on my dad's birthday, and thinking back to my dad in 1981 at 43 years old, way younger than I am now, and the fact that my dad's gone, if he was around now, he would be approaching 87. He would just had his 87th birthday, on his way to 90. It just makes me realise as we sit here, and as I talk to my beautiful and lovely and yet geriatric fan base here, you know, it's I feel more and more I am approaching something that I don't like. I'm scared of it. I don't want to die. I thought when I was little and I was scared of dying, that when I got to this age I wouldn't be scared of dying anymore. But I am. And that's what happens when you get to this age. You watch videos on YouTube talking about albums that came out. When did this one bloody come out? 65, is it? 66? 60 years ago. 60 years ago. Look at them, look at these young, fresh faces. There's only 2 of them alive now. I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't expect on this video for the subtext to be death. This has never happened before, but it is death. It is. It's death. It's emerged. I can feel it in the room with me now. When I'm gone, hopefully YouTube will still be there. And I'll be immortalised like them on here. You lot won't though. We're at number 5, aren't we? Who's the greatest pop star of all time? Who's the greatest songwriter of all time? Have you ever think like that? I think it's Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder's the best. He can play everything, right? He's an incredible singer. He's about the best pop songwriter there is. He can play jazz. He knows all his jazz. He knows all his funk, right? He seems like a really nice bloke. And he's blind. So he does all that whilst being blind. So Stevie Wonder has to be on the list. Now, you know what my favourite tune by Stevie Wonder is? It's on this album, his best of, but it was released specially for this album, and it's the tune Do I Do. I love that tune. I love it so much. And I've got this on vinyl, and I've got the same album on CD. And if we've got a long drive in the family, this has always been a thing. If we're on a long drive and we're in the car and it's like you get like, oh, I just want to get there now. And it's, you know, I need a bit of a pep up. We've eaten, we've stopped. Now I've had an egg sandwich and a packet of cheese and onion crisps. I've done this. The kids have stopped for a wee. You know, I've pulled up in the lay-by and opened up the back and, you know, made a few little things out of the back and then driven off, of not shut the door and all the stuff's fallen out the back, and there's been that sort of adrenaline thing. But after all that's been done, you're there slogging it away. You know, the kids are getting fed up. And at that point, I reach for the original Musicarium by Stevie Wonder, and I put Do I Do on. What's this groove? And then he comes in. Oh, when I see you on the street, and you're like, Stevie, you don't see anybody on the street. You're lying. Unless you can see, like everyone says. You've given the game away straight away there. When I see you on the street. And then we get this, do I do, what? You I do, my love to you. Boo. Jazz dominant chord coming in there. Oh, it's just the best thing ever. And everybody in the car, young and old, they just all pep up and then they're all like this. And that's great. Now, there's loads of songs that are this good. Rock With You like this, that Michael Jackson, that's like that. And they sit there bopping away and I'm loving it. And then what they do, bloody fade out. I don't want it to fade out. I feel like going, Stevie, you've got a groove here. Why would you stop? You shouldn't stop. Just keep going. And he does. On Do I Do, he does. They just keep going. They keep going. And it's like they shoot off I mean, before that, it's like he's singing all bopping away. And then he just goes like really casually. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got the jazz legend Dizzy Gillespie. And then Dizzy comes on and he goes, really funky, and then a little bit really amazing. These like, and his tone, and then he turns it around. You know, absolutely go Dizzy Gillespie. Jesus Christ! I mean, if he was alive now, he'd be 108 years old, Dizzy, and there he is on Do I Do, being funky. Then Stevie just keeps going, and he keeps going. And it goes all wrong. And then he tries to make up some lyrics and it goes all wrong. I can make up lyrics on the spot, as you know. If I'd have been there, I could say, Stevie, I'll step in here. When you see Stevie on the street, he isn't looking for some nice meat. He doesn't like a sausage or some ham. He is probably wanting to eat a little yam. Oh, do I do what you do when I choose some food for you? I choose this food because I love you. Stevie Wonder. You know, I can make those lyrics up all like he's not that. He's all going. At one point, he starts to go. He says something, then he goes, and then he rhymes it with rubby amateur. So he ain't so good at that, is he? But when he does write a lyric, when he gives it some thought, he's pretty good, old Stevie. Right, that's that there. This video's gone completely down the pan. Right, we're at number 4 now. Nearly there, nearly there. Right, I wanted to have some Joni Mitchell, and I wanted her high up on the list. She's another one of the greatest ones. And then you have all those songs, you know. Then I thought, there's an album I've got. It took me some time to find this because I've forgotten the name of the group. There's an album I've got where they do the most beautiful version of the tune Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell. And this album, I thought, rather than just talking about Joni Mitchell, let's talk about this album. So this album is called A Cappella, and it's by the Singers Unlimited. There they are, enjoying a lovely sunny day in late summer in the park. They're all sat around, you know, thinking about stuff, you know. These two in the middle are really enjoying herself, you know. She's the girl, you can tell she's, you know, there's a bit of misogyny coming on, so she's sitting there really neat, waiting to be told what to do, as 70s women's were. This bloke's a bit edgy though, he's not happy with it. And he's found something in the grass that he's examining. But it's a beautiful cover. And it opens up with Both Sides Now, and this is all vocals by the Singers Unlimited. It's just so beautiful. That's the version. I love Joni. I love all her albums. I love everything she does. I love all those songs. I love it. I love Blue. I love Ladies of the Canyon. I love the bloody Hissing the Summer Lawns, Injera, you know, the Mingus, you know. I love them all. I love Joni Mitchell. But this version here is really special. And that's the version I'm going to go with, Both Sides Down, by Joni Mitchell, written by Joni Mitchell, sung by the Singers Unlimited. Now, I know there's a singer called Bonnie Herman, and she was in this group. What was the other guy? I remember now. Wasn't there a group called the High-Lows? They were like a vocal group in the 1960s, and then Gene Perling and Don Shelton left, and they teamed up with Len Dresler and Bonnie Herman. I remember it now. You see, that's the encyclopedic knowledge. It's written on the back there. Right. At number 3, I've got 2. There was a bit of a cock-up in doing this. And when I started on the part 1, I realised I'd missed off like the most important tune to me. And I wouldn't have put it at number 1, but it would have been very high up. So let's tell you what we've got. Originally at number 3, I have one of the greatest songs of all time off this album, Remaining Lights, Once in a Lifetime. Now, there is a video on here where I did an experiment a few years back as part of Philosophy Sunday. It's one of my favourite videos I ever did. And I thought, what would happen if I just sat in the room, switched the camera on, and I didn't speak until a definite idea popped in my head, but I wouldn't try and get an idea. I'm just going to sit there. If I sit there for half an hour with no idea, that's what you get. And I did it. I sat there for about 10, 15 minutes just staring. And then I realised I was staring at this tree, and I tried to relax, and I stared at the tree. And then something popped into my head, and it was a book by P.D. Ouspensky. And in that book, he wrote about the 4th dimension, which is time, and how the 3 dimensions of our material universe folds into time. And he said, this can be represented by this diagram. And then you looked, and it was just a picture of a tree. Now, the chapter before was about esoteric knowledge, and me at quite a young age, I pondered on this. And I started to go into this idea that this tree was a model of the 4-dimensional universe. This idea that the tree, unlike us who move around, the tree is rooted to the spot. So when you look at the tree, you actually see that the patterns have been created by the tree growing, you know, in time. And you see the law of 7 because there's no straight lines. Everything is moving across and moving. And I went round to see my friends the other day, and he's got this 1,000-year-old oak on his land, and we went and stood by it. And you just get the feeling that of a different perception of time that these beings have, and another type of being. And as I spoke to it, what popped into my head was this song. Because Once in a Lifetime is based upon the idea, which is a conceit, it's not true, but it equates a droplet of water falling on the land as a raindrop, trickling through the mountains, all the way through, filtrating its way through to the subterranean world that we know nothing of, where it would join into these underwater rivers and rivulets and lakes, until it pops out into a great big river, runs out to the coast, goes out into the sea, where it flops around, that particle does, until the sun shines down on it, and then it's taken back up into the clouds, and this big circle goes round. And what David Byrne says, which is a conceit, it's not true, but it's a wonderful conceit, is that process takes a lifetime. And so the eternal recurrence of which P.D. Ouspensky speaks of in the book A New Model of the Universe is also represented in this song. This is one of the heaviest songs I've ever come across. And David Byrne takes this idea of the preacher, but what he preaches to you is a completely different view of the universe, where we are stuck in a trap, a time trap, and we go round and round, and we have a vague awareness which creates a sort of existential angst in us, that one moment we're this, and then the next moment we're that, and then we're this, and we're that, and equates it to this water moving and running all the time, this big long process that we're not quite aware of, like the tree. Now, this video I did was about an hour long, and it explored all sorts of esoteric stuff, but the reason I got there is because of this tune here. This is a heavy tune, okay? So park that one. Now, let's go back to 1980. I'm a music fan. I like a lot of pop music, listening to a bit of B.A. Robinson, a bit of maybe a bit of Barbara Dixon, all that. I like Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick by, what's the name, Ian Joy. I love that tune. And then in 79, this band brings out a tune which nearly made this list, and it should have been on. The tune Pop Music by the band M, overseen by the great Wally Badarou, who also was like the sort of mentor for Level 42. And I do believe there's a very young Phil Gould on what is perhaps the greatest pure pop song ever made, which is Pop Music by M. I will do a whole video on M at Pop Music at some point, because that was the song that made me realise I love music. And I was searching for something, and I found my way in 1980 towards heavy metal within the new realm of the new wave of British heavy metal. I was then swept up in that and started to buy out singles by Saxon, and well, not albums, singles by Saxon, Rainbow, Judas Priest. These are the actual ones I bought. One of the first singles I ever bought was Big Teaser by Saxon. Now, that's not on the list. Great as it is as a song, it's not that great. She's a big teaser. She's a big teaser. It's got backing vocals on it. You would never expect it from Saxon. Well, I've got a very soft place in my heart, that has. Anyway, so I then one day went out and bought a Motorhead single, Ace of Spades. It was red, the cover was, with a black and white Ace of Spades on it. And when I took this record home, I just put it on, and without thinking, I jumped out of my chair and started bounding around the room like a loony, right? I then, for Christmas, had the Ace of Spades, the album. And then in 1981, K-Tel brought out the follow-up to Axe Attack, which we spoke about in the other video, and they came out with Axe Attack 2. And this had on it, second track, Ace of Spades. I now got 3 copies of Ace of Spades in my collection. And so what we have here at joint number 3, this is the door to the 4th dimension in this video, right? And this is starting to make sense. The esoteric meaning of this video starts to make sense, because here we have 2 choices. You have the incredible meaning behind Once in a Lifetime, the depth of it. Or we could just have Ace of Spades, which is just a visceral rush. If I like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. I win some, lose some. It's all the same to me. Right? This is the same sentiment of Once in a Lifetime. It's an acceptance of the way the universe is, chaos and order. And as much as we can be terrified of the thought of dying, that is because we're holding on to something solid here in this world, but it's not solid, we know it. And that's the journey we've been on through this video. As I arrive here, there's 2 portals. 2 portals here. But they're both saying the same thing. This in a very intellectual way, and this in a very visceral, hedonistic way. So we have hedonism, and we have almost like perfectionism, time and space. We have chaos and order embodied here at joint 3, and that's why I've ended up with 2 at joint 3. So why isn't this at number 1? What have I got at number 1? Well, in a way, I've got the ultimate embodiment of this dialectic separated out now, because at number 2, not as important as number 1, we have another tune which its beauty is far more intellectual. It's far more conceptual in itself. Now, I don't actually own a copy of this tune. It is by Glenn Campbell, which is a lineman, which was came out in the late 60s. It's an absolute masterpiece. And it tells a story of this guy, and he's up on this sort of electrical line, he's working, and they sort of act as, you know, conductors for these messages, and he starts to be aware of all these things. It's a beautiful song, but it's all very intellectual. Now, because I wanted to put it on the list, I dug around and I remembered I'd got this record called The Ultimate Stereo Presentation, which was one of these cheap albums that came in the 1970s, 15 fabulous tracks. And these albums were often given away when people bought hi-fi, so they'd have something to play when they got home that was in stereo. So we got the Gypsy Fiddler by the Ron Goodwin Orchestra. We've got Valentino doing Aranjuez Mon Amour. The Royal Philharmonic Orchestra doing the Spitfire Prelude from the film The First of a Few. There's all sorts of things on here. And there's these awful cover versions. We've got Bravo Brasso doing the Beatles song When I'm 64. And here we have Which It's a Lineman, but this time performed by the great Brian Bennett. Now, this is from the album called The Illustrated London Noise. Now, Brian Bennett, I've met Brian Bennett, one of the greatest drummers in rock and roll history. He was not the original drummer, but the main drummer in The Shadows. He appears in Summer Holiday and those types of films. Incredible drummer. Brilliant drummer. So very influential in really laying the groundwork for sort of rock drumming in the early 60s. In the 1970s, Brian Bennett went across to doing jingles, film stuff. Absolutely incredible. And it's amazing because Brian Bennett's amazing and he's funky as hell. And so we have this Brian Bennett. Now, if you want to hear this version of it, you can go and try and find it on the internet, but I will be playing it on my radio show when we get to this point. But looking at the album that it comes from, The Illustrated London Noise 268, he does a whole bunch of cover versions on here, including Ticket to Ride, Rocky Raccoon, Take Me in Your Arms and Love Me, but also, right, it says Chameleon. Now, could that be the Herbie Hancock tune? If it is, I've got to hear Brian Bennett's version of it. I'll be looking that up when I get home. So these are the joys and delights. So we now come at number 1. And at number 1, I have a tune which is from a band which sort of this band almost represents the visceral, dirty rock and roll. Songs about sex, partying. And on here is a tune that always stuck out for me for having much more drama than you'd expect from this band. The band is AC/DC, the album is Highway to Hell. Another perfect album here. All these songs are incredible. But the 4th track on side 1 is A Touch Too Much. Now, I believe that that's the greatest song ever made. And when I gave this some thoughts, I wanted to be intellectual and put, you know, Which the Lineman at number 1. So, that's the greatest song, you know. And I knew I was being a bit pretentious, and that always comes in when you start talking about songs. It's always the case. People feel like songs are greater than instrumental tracks, but I don't. There's a sort of snobbery around songwriting. Go play for the song. There's all that bit, you know, and people, and listen to it, the lyrics are so profound, you know. There's all that bit that, you know, it's just pop songs. It's just pop songs, right? And I sat there and I thought, what's the one song, if I owned it, if I could only have one song, and I'm going to put it on, and every time I put it on, I absolutely love it. The song that never doesn't supply pure joy in every shape and form, everything, and is a product of just incredible songwriting, incredible lyric writing, although, you know, very much just about having sex with some girl. That's all it's about. But Bon Scott is at once profane and profound with his lyrics. There's something about this tune and the drama of it which I find absolutely compelling. Now, quite recently, I did an analysis of this song. I did an analysis of the song lyrics in much the same way you would analyse something by Bob Dylan, to show the comedic aspect of that. But the reason I did it is because I knew that this was going to be number one on my list. So we're at the 50-minute mark, and we've got to number one. Right, what didn't quite make it? I've got a few here that didn't quite make it. I'll pull them out. So songs that were like, I've rejected probably as many songs that are on the list, but I've still got some of the albums that were originally in this list, and then I turfed out because I thought, well, I'm going to have to put that song on. So Pyramid Song by Radiohead. It's just so profound and moving. Every time I put it on, I burst out crying. Didn't make the list. Winter in America by Gil Scott-Heron. Absolutely incredible tune. People going about what's going on, or even Curtis Mayfield. Gil Scott-Heron's the guy. A Winter in America, it's funky, it's cool, but it's profound at the same time. The Dream Police by Cheap Trick. What a masterpiece, like a mini epic all condensed down into this incredible tune with its sort of bubblegum pop vocals and then its sinister middle sections and its sort of proggy Mahavishnu middle eight that's in there. The Dream Police is one of the greatest songs. I love it, absolutely love it so much. I bought this double album by Cheap Trick for that one song because the rest of the stuff by Cheap Trick, it's okay. I like Cheap Trick, there's some good ones here, you know, but no, they never did anything close to the Dream Police. Incredible. Blue Oyster Cult are like that. I was going to put Godzilla on, and then I thought, no. Prog didn't make it, because I originally was going to put Awaken off this album on my list as well. And, of course, me being a rocker in the 1980s, early 1980s, I couldn't listen to any pop music or funky music or soul, but I loved it. And I had to try and cover that up and pretend I didn't love it. The thing that tipped me over where I could do my homework one night, well, it was actually the Starsky and Hutch theme. I used to sit there doing my homework at the table, and Mum and Dad would be watching Starsky and Hutch. And when that thing came on, Tom Scott, I used to feel that groove, and I loved it. Now, in 1984-5, I would say, probably 85, let's have a look. 84 was right first time. Shaka Khan brought this out, and I Feel For You went to number one. And I can remember watching it, going, oh my God, this is incredible. The funky, her vocal, and then on top of that, the rap, because we didn't have much rap back then. That was like one of the first mainstream number one rap tracks. Let me take you, absolutely amazing. And Stevie Wonder on there with his harmonica. I loved it. Oh, this one should have gone on really. And I was like, Dad, what do you think of this this? And he went, I love this, because my dad loved it. I said, you should get the album. So my dad went out and bought this album, but I made him buy this album. And the next week, when Top of the Pops was on, and it came on in number one again, I was going like this. And my mum goes, do you like this? And I went, yeah. I wouldn't have thought you'd like this, Andrew. Yeah, I do. Oh, that's interesting. You know, you normally listen to that bloke that sounds like Norman Wisdom, you know. Who's that, Mum? You know, the one that was always going, Mr. Grimsdale. Are you on about Biff Byford from Saxon? Yeah, that's the one. That's Saxon. Sounds like Norman Wisdom, doesn't he? You know, so that's what my mum was like. I Feel For You. And it was written by Prince. So we get a bit of Prince on there, but they're all the low, that they didn't quite make it. Right, so I think I am done. Thanks for watching this video. It went really strange. It's supposed to be 30 minutes long. It's actually 55 minutes, which means there's 25 minutes of just stupid bonkersness in the middle of this one. But it is the way it is. I think I must have been in the mood to go somewhere. This was both silly and it was both silly and profound in a way. Oh, I was creeped out when death appeared like that. All pointing towards the dead. Maybe they were with me after all. We're done. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, I'm not editing this video. This is one of those videos that goes straight up. So, of course, there is no phone ring on the phone unless I decide to dub it in. But if I did dub it in, you'll see how, because the thing is I'm going to have to drop all the file into the video into. I'm going to have to get a phone. Oh, I might do it. I'll put the ring on anyway. I'll see how I feel. It's Friday. I just want to go home, get myself a few little bits and bobs, you know, nice super noodles perhaps, and a Time Out chocolate bar. You know, I just want to sit down and have a look at a bit of Facebook and see who else has bloody blocked me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.